It is time for another Fair Shake review. And I'm finally doing it, y'all. Finally feel somewhat comfortable enough to do this review on Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Like, albums like this are the reason why I like to write notes, do multiple listens before I do reviews. I really like to sit and like really just kind of like be able to really formalize my full opinion on it and let it sit and mull over and truly try to understand a lot of this. Now, I'm not gonna say that I have like everything like locked down for sure, but I feel comfortable, somewhat comfortable enough to kind of give my quick thoughts about these songs here. So we start off with United in Grief. And man, it's quite a bombastic intro. It has like three different kind of like sections, but it's all kind of like racing, like showing like what's racing through Kendrick's mind, and including like grieving and how he's kind of used money and sex to kind of like escape that pain. And yeah, everybody grieves different, and so he's just kind of talking his truth in that matter. Then we get to N95, which kind of somewhat relates to the pandemic, as many people are familiar with the N95 face mask. But this one's a little bit more of a more hype track than the intro, and he's just kind of talking like honestly about everything that's been kind of plaguing us Americans throughout the pandemic, from the clout chasing becoming even more prevalent, and more racial discrepancies being shown throughout as well. And he just gets real on that kind of matter, which is dope. Worldwide Steppers here has a really nice thumping and ominous beat here, where he's kind of talking more about some of his life experiences that make him kind of like a killer in his community, including like the sexcapades he's had out on tour, and with white women that he feel kind of is like revenge, but that actually still hurts him and his community and how they're viewed, as well as doing some comparisons with his killing through to like the systems and industries that also kind of do their things to hurt the black community, as well as other communities in America as well. Dope track though. Die Hard. Here we got Kendrick, Blast, and Amanda Reefer. I am not sure. But this one here is just kind of like a track about having a die hard love for someone despite being flawed. And the singing from Blast and Amanda is amazing. And Kendrick just continues to come in with his really cool, unique flows, all about love. This is like one of the most straightforward, I think, songs that. Well, I mean, Kendrick always has a kind of straightforward kind of flow, but you don't have to do a lot of like mulling over still over like it. Like it's just kind of like straight. You don't have to like think about just how profound it is. It's just really just kind of like a straightforward, like, I hope you love me despite my flaws, because I will do anything for you, kind of thing. It's literally just that straightforward. And I feel like this is like the track that is the most just like, you don't have to think about how much he's saying is true about the world or anything like that. But it's still a fantastic song. Then we get Father Time, talking about how toxic masculinity kind of gets passed down through fathers, and Kendrick's own personal experience with that with his father, and his daddy issues. And this is just put over a nice real kind of like boom bap like drum looped track that I thought was a nice little switch up from some of the experimentation throughout the first bit. And we get to the Rich Interlude, where Kodak Black, who's, you know, been sneaking in here and there since like Worldwide Steppers, where Kodak actually gets to lay down a verse here, and you're kind of talking about his mindset as a young man from the hood who made it, dealing with going to jail and making it back out after being poor to being rich and owning property. Like, it is actually like a pretty darn solid verse, and I was like, dang, Kodak, I didn't know it was like that. And then we get to Rich Spirit, where Kendrick just kind of goes over this really nice, smooth West Coast bounce like beat. And here it kind of seems like Kendrick kind of looking down at the broke man or clout chaser mindset, that mentality. That's kind of like what I got from it, but I just freaking love this beat. It's just too smooth, man. Then it goes into We Cry Together, which, man, I got to hear a bit of the unedited version of this. I mean the edited version of this, and it is hilarious because every other word is just like gone, especially during the chorus, because it's just F you with F you N-word, F you with F you with F you N-word. It's just like, wow. But yeah, this is just kind of like capturing that back and forth of that argument between a couple who just going through it. It's kind of like getting another. Sometimes it can feel a bit uncomfortable just like watching Malcolm and Marie. It's just like they just arguing, like just with where the it's great because it seems so authentic that it's just like, yo, there's times where it's just like little low blows that sometimes don't really mean much, but then there's also like things that are poignant point of views and perspectives on society between men and women that get brought out, and it's like, that's why this happens, and that's why this happens. Why is it that this happens? Because of that, there's a double standard here, and but then it'll just be like, you little D, bro, you got a small D, and that's why I be faking orgasms and stuff like that. So it's just really captures that argument where it's just like, okay, sometimes the truth comes in there, then other times it doesn't, and then at the end it's just like, no, after having such a terrible argument, they just kind of get over it and sleep together. And it's a nuts experience that, unfortunately, some people have lives like that. Then we get to Purple Hearts, where Kendrick and Summer just really kind of like talk about love in their own perspectives, and then Ghostface kind of speaks directly to God, almost like he is somewhat expressing his love and devotion somewhat to him. And so it was a very interesting verse that I felt was kind of feels out of place, and yet also not at the same time. I don't know if this is like somewhat supposed to resemble kind of like the threefold cord that a marriage is supposed to be described like in the Bible, where you have man, woman, and God all intertwined together to make a strong relationship. But I still don't feel like it was extremely well presented, if that's the direction that was supposed to be going. But overall, the verses are still all really dope. It's just the cohesion of it all together, mainly with Ghostface verse, feels odd. And that closes the first half of the double album. And we get into Count Me Out, where Kendrick is just talking a little bit more on things that are kind of weighing on his brain, especially things that most people would think that would count Kendrick out and these times, but Kendrick is just accepting his flaws here, and he's just like, I'm gonna keep going. I realize I have these issues, but that doesn't mean you can push me to the side. And then that goes into Crown, where it's on this really really pensive piano centric beat. Like, it's literally just kind of piano. And he just has these ruminations over how people's views can kind of change on the ones that they idolize or ones that they're friends with, especially Kendrick himself, and how those views just kind of can change over time, especially when there's times where you can't always be there for them. So just like the saying is, heavy is the head that wears the crown, which is quoted in the song as well. But yeah, another really great track here. Then it goes into Silent Hill, where you get another Kodak feature, and this one here has the already memed pushing these brothers off me like, huh, pushing these women off me like, huh. What a wonderful chorus. Is very memorable. But yeah, here they're just kind of talking a bit about just pushing away things that kind of get in the way of you to succeed, and kind of take care of yourself and the loved ones that you have, and trying to get that stress away from you. And yeah, pretty cool track. I feel like Kodak's verse gets a little too materialistic a bit on there, but regardless, it's still a track that I'm gonna be playing back. Then it goes into the Savior Interlude, where Baby Keem actually has a verse here, and he's kind of talking about his struggle growing up, with the relationships he's had with his mom on drugs, and his uncle stealing from them, and then jail time, and people with jail time, and then coming out of it, being able to try and help out after success, is really interesting to listen to, and it's just over some really beautiful strings. I really enjoy the production on that one. Then it goes into the song Savior by K. Dot here, and here is just kind of talking more about the idolization of celebrities, kind of viewing them as saviors, and he basically just kind of puts it out nice and plain that it's something that we really shouldn't be doing, especially since these are imperfect people. So once you realize that they're not perfect, sometimes that hurts them because they put so much trust in them. But you got to realize everybody isn't perfect, and that's kind of what he's trying to stress to people, that you shouldn't look at us as 100% unfallible role models. Then it goes into Auntie Diaries here, and here he's kind of talking about his own personal history dealing with transgender people that were in his family, and how that kind of affected him, and his usage of the F word, the one that ends with the T, and how that was even kind of somewhat related to him with the experience that he had with a fan, a white fan, who came up on stage and was asked to sing the words of his song, and she used the N-word, and he got extremely offended, and seeing how he got upset at using that, and how that could be referred to the F word as well, and then how he should have realized that those words hold a little bit more weight due to that experience, and seeing how that could have affected people who are even close to him, like his cousin and his aunt. to transgender. So yeah, it is a very interesting experience to hear unfold here on the track. Then we get into Mr. Morale, where he's just talking about even more things that kind of traumatize us, that we definitely need to confront to heal. It's a little bit more direct to the listener, like, hey, these are things, like, think of if these things that these celebrities have gone through, like R. Kelly, like if R. Kelly dealt with these things, or if Oprah really dealt with the hurt that she always seems to portray, that black women have had, how different life could be. So it's just really saying, hey, we got to confront these things that traumatize us to really heal ourselves. Then Mother I Sober here gets into his experiences growing up, dealing with sexual abuse, being something that has been surrounding him. Kind of noticing that there is sexual abuse from his that his mom went through, and then how he was even asked if he was sexually abused, and he was like, no, but just was not ever believed because of their his mom's past with sexual abuse, just wanting to protect him, and then how that even spreads to his uncle, who also ended up having a problem with sex, and then how even Kendrick himself realized that he has a sex addiction and led him to cheat, and yeah, it's just really just kind of trying to tackle how much sex and abuse and assault has all been very prevalent in black communities, and how even if you aren't necessarily a victim or an abuser, there are many different people around you that have been affected by it, that you have to realize these things to try and find a way to heal those wounds in the people around you and in your community. Really touching track, and as the longest track, it's just like, whoa, this is some serious stuff right here. Then finally we get to the final track, Mirror, where Kendrick just straight up starts expressing how he's kind of taking some time to reflect and on his own troubles, to kind of finally better his life, basically taking on what he said in Mr. Morale, that it's time we face our traumas, that way we can heal and help the people around us to heal as well. Yeah, it's a really nice way to close it out, especially since it's almost kind of like a stepping song, like Real is at the end of Good Kid, Mad City. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if that was purposeful, but I felt the same kind of vibe from Real and Mirror, since they both kind of have like a stepping kind of feel. But anyway, in conclusion, as many I'm gonna read what I have verbatim here. So as many have said, this album seems like a few therapy sessions rolled into one listening experience. And here Kendrick as is mentioned, talks about the many mindsets and traumas that affected his life and expands that to the life experiences of the world. And the production here continues to be very adventurous, as Kendrick has shown to do through his discography. Even though some of the beats do kind of give me some Kanye vibes, and sometimes a little bit of Pharrell, but this is possibly due to me just recently listening to the Pusha T project, where it was pretty much just their production. So some of them I just kind of felt like, oh, I feel like Kanye would do a beat like this, or I was like, this one beat maybe I could hear Pharrell do, but yeah, either way, the production is great, and also, regardless of the stellar production, it's still not really tailored to the radio, but there are still a few tracks that I feel like kind of sound accessible to the radio, which would be like Die Hard, Rich Spirit, and Savior. But the thing is, the lyrics would may be an issue with putting those on the radio. But overall, I freaking love this album and what it stands for, and I will be putting this mug on repeat. Yet I still don't know if it's my personal favorite rap album of the year. Like, I still have to give it more time to see if it beats out Denzel Curry for me, because I still really love that rap album. Like, it's really good. But this one, I still feel is like the more important album to be released. But personal favorite, that's a different story. But though, that's my thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing my kind of views on it. I try to avoid everyone else's kind of reviews on this album. The only people I really really talked about it with are my roommates, because they like Kendrick as well, so I just talk to them a little bit about it. But as far as critics and stuff, I wanted to be kind of block it all off before I listened to it, and I wanted to do my full review before I went into other people's thoughts and reactions and such. So that's why I also want to welcome you to leave your thoughts in the comments section. I would really love to hear what you guys think of this album, because now I'm letting Spoilergate free. Not that I'm typically not a person who is afraid to hear people's opinions on things that I have yet to experience, but for this one I just kind of wanted to make a small exception, and just kind of be as completely unaffected by others' opinions when I did this review. So yeah. But now I'm letting it free to let the thoughts fly on this project. And if you enjoyed my review, you can hit the like button. You can also subscribe for more reactions and reviews. I also have a Patreon where I put up extra content. It's mostly reviews. It's actually mostly reactions to some K-pop stuff, but I also occasionally throw in some vlogs, updates, and a little bit of music, because I'm really wanting to tap back into creating my own music. So that kind of stuff ends up being there. And if you just like supporting small creators in general, that's where to go. Patreon.com/Blipmaster5. If you're watching on the blog, know you can also help the leader of Muddy Cult Madhouse by searching up Muddy Cult Miko and help her out as well, and get early access to posts there also. That's just a little perk if you're so interested. But anyway, until next time, much love, peace, threes.